Hi, everybody. How are you? It's the
How are
end of
you?
VR
No,
month.
Adam, how are
What?
you?
I'm great. Prominent people have been jacking in from all over the world.
Jacking in.
There was a lot of jacking in talk, a lot of jacking out talk. So I'm afraid you're going to have to go to the hospital by slipping it in too far. Let's start over. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Reserve Seating. I'm Adam. I'm joined by Rob and by Mike
Hey,
for the
everybody.
last week of VR month. And we're closing out things on the most Highlander 2-ish note as possible
Yes.
with Lawnmower Man 2. It's either Beyond Cyberspace or Job's War. It depends on, like if you have a copy of the
There's another one.
DVD, or if you're watching on Amazon, like on Amazon or Freevee, it says Beyond Cyberspace in the Amazon menu, but then the credits say Job's War. I don't know when they decided this. So I'll start with you, Rob. Which title do you prefer?
For the movie that we got,
Yeah.
I think Job's War is the most appropriate one because it really is, it's he just wants to jack in. He wants everybody to jack in. It's a war for jacking.
Yeah.
Which I'm always supporting.
I'm dying. I can't decide who I want to hear from first, but Mike, since you're our guest,
Yeah.
we'll start with you. What'd you think of Lawnmower Man 2?
I really wish you didn't start with me. I felt like I had no idea what was going on, and I don't know if that's just because I was allowing my mind to think of anything else, or if that was the movie's fault. It might not be the movie's fault. It could totally be my fault. But I felt like I constantly was like, wait, did I fall asleep for a second? I don't know.
Did you expect, Mike? Did you expect what you got from Lawnmower Man 2? Was this what you saw coming at all?
That's a good question. No, but I don't know if I could tell you what I did expect.
Right.
But no, not what I got.
I don't blame you at all for feeling like you were lost, because I think it's a movie that makes up new rules every 30 seconds.
Yeah. But no, I liked Adam. Not to steal your thunder, but I remember you texted me. We were going back and forth about it, and you mentioned that how much you like when the movie is hook, which it kind of is for a period. There's definitely a young teenage boy subplot here that was very commonplace in 90s movies.
It's one of those movies that culminates, and like I was laughing throughout, but the biggest laugh for me the first time I saw it was after, spoiler, they kill the cyberspace version of Job. The threat is neutralized, and because this makes up any rules that it wants, they're getting out of cyberspace by flying like they're Peter Pan. I think the Rosetta Stone of the movie for me is the Patrick Bergen performance.
Yeah.
Because he's an actor who I mostly know from Sleeping with the Enemy and Patriot Games. Villain, threatening, serious actor, like guy that you would think like would be above this. And maybe you would expect this performance to be, feeling like he's held hostage within this movie. But the thing that I love about it, it almost feels like it was shot in sequence, because he seems to be having hey kitty. Patrick Bergen seems to be having more fun in every next scene than the last.
That's true.
And at the very end, when he's doing cyber sword fighting on a plank with Matt Frewer, he cannot stop grinning, and it's so cute.
So two things about that. One, it's the performance in this that makes this not feel like a direct-to-video Hellraiser sequel, or like the later Highlander movies, where it did feel like everybody was sort of just trapped and everybody was kind of just everybody was being held hostage from the movie. And two, I think the other reason I really appreciate this is because I've been watching a lot of Star Trek, and occasionally there will be those Star Trek episodes where it's like, hey, we got some like pirate outfits. Do you want to do like a pirate episode where they're just pirates on the Enterprise?
Yeah, I also just like how well they can navigate through cyberspace. Like they've been here their entire lives. Like they'll jump in, novices will just jump in, and all of a sudden they're like expert motorcycle riders. And
well, it's funny because there's a little bit of like a Ready Player One vibe here. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of that. Speaking of the VR of it all, you know what I mean? Speaking about that, and that this movie predicted iPhones.
It's even funnier because that line comes directly after prominent people are jacking in from all over the world.
Yeah. The really important thing, I think the really important thing to remember about this movie is that it's about prominent people who jack in. And it's sort of about how important it is to jack in. And out.
And
in again.
Yeah, I agree. I've been watching a lot of Star Trek lately, and they jack in all the time. So it's been
would a better title for this have been Lawnmower Man 2 Jacking In?
Yeah.
Because really the movie's about sort of, one of the lead characters has sort of a fear of jacking in. They express, he expresses his fear of jacking in. It's been some time since he's jacked in. He's sort of wary of the consequences of jacking in.
Mm-hmm. Because this came out at the beginning of 1996, Francis Ford Coppola's Jack also came out the same year. So, Mike, were you more jack in or jack out on Robin Williams as Jack and Francis Ford Coppola's Jack?
I mean, I was pretty jacked in on Robin Williams. As Jack, but I don't know. You guys are making me feel like maybe I should be more jacked into Lawnmower Man 2.
Do you think when Adam Sandler was writing Jack and Jill,
I would feel bad if we left out Job, as played by Matt Frewer, in our review. Mike, I'm curious what you think of this performance. Rob and I were texting that it's basically Matt Frewer as Jim Carrey, as Edward Nygma as Job.
I while I was watching it, I went to IMDb for Jim Carrey's filmography to see where these movies landed. Because I absolutely got a Jim Carrey vibe.
I remember wanting to see Lawnmower Man 2 when it came out in theaters because I was big enough fan or intrigued enough by this property to want to go see it. But it was like one of those things where my friends and I didn't go to the movies all the time. So I had to like be selective, and we ended up going to see From Dusk Till Dawn, which I think we made the right decision.
So Adam, this movie, you said before last week you were anticipating, you were like, I think this is like a secret, like you said, well, I can't remember what you said, like a secret masterpiece or like a secret like outlaw film, like something that was really, really good. Did it hold up for you in this viewing?
Yeah, I mean, it's never going to get as good as the first time you see the movie, because especially if you have a certain expectation coming off of Lawnmower Man, where, it's of a certain quality. It's very much like the drop from like Mortal Kombat to Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yeah, that's a great analog. Yeah.
100%. So it's like if you saw MK2 after expecting to see Mortal Kombat 1 again, that's like kind of what you have in store. But yeah, I mean, like it wasn't like Highlander 3 where it was like a huge drop off. Like it's got moments, and those moments are things that I remember, and the movie's super silly and its heart's in the right place. And the guy who directed it kind of came from prominence in music videos and commercials. He was like a really big like award-winning commercial director. And yeah, he didn't really direct much else. He had like a movie that was kind of like a softcore thing that came out the year before this. That was like one of those like direct-to-video Red Shoe Diary type movies. There you go, Rob. Yeah. It's just such a peculiarity, and I find it interesting in the same way that I find like Gremlins 2 interesting, where it almost feels like it's the director of Lawnmower Man, and he's just like, fuck it. Like, I'm not giving you the sequel you want. So this is the final movie for VR month. I would say that I came out the other end happy about it, because even though the movies weren't all hits for us, it gave me the carrot of wanting to do more VR stuff. And I Googled in Chicago, there's a place that's like a VR arcade. And I saw they have like a Creed video game where you can get in there and get punched by Michael B. Jordan a bunch of times. And it's like, one, please.
Yeah.
Want that.
If you were to program VR month round 2,
yeah,
what would be your centerpiece? What would be your Lawnmower Man for the next time we do this?
I think probably Strange Days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be very curious to rewatch that again. I've seen it maybe twice, and it's never like fully connected for me. But I think I'm in the right frame of mind to, especially in comparison to some of the other movies we watched.
Mike, anything else on Lawnmower Man Part 2? Did you enjoy this viewing? Did you?
I wish we had this conversation before I watched it, because you got your enthusiasm for it is really infectious, and now I feel like I not watched it wrong, but maybe it wasn't in the right frame of mind. So honestly, like I would look forward to watching it again, because maybe I was a little too hard on Lawnmower Man.
Not at all. No. And I think that, people, I mean, obviously it's not a great movie. Obviously it's not a particularly good movie, but what it is you look at it for its, as Adam said, like you look at it for its earnest nature. I think we watch so many movies that like looking at something like this, that like when I read like IMDb reviews, obviously it's like, this is trash, blah, blah, blah. But like you do find those, you can look at it earnestly, and you can say like, what was the approach behind this? What were they trying to do? And you can see those performances that are just so full of glee and the sort of inventiveness, or just the way that they were like grasping at 90s trends, like the Lost Boys of it all and all that, like just go and just being like, let's put something together. And I think when we look at the way movies are made now, there is just a kitschy quality to it where you do have to kind of say to yourself, like, no, this is so like earnest. And so even if it's cynical, there's a homemade quality to the cynicism of this that makes it more innocent somehow. Like,
I think nowadays we're elevating B material so much that there is no B treatment of B material anymore in most cases.
I mean, B material now is passable when it's snarky. You know what I mean? Like you have to have the Tony Stark thing where it's like, we have to laugh at it and point out that it's B material now. Whereas this is just like, no, we're B material. We're earnest about it. This is, you can make B material into A material as long as you're poking fun at it.
Yep. That's one thing. And this is a little bit of a tangent, but like, I've been thinking this so much leading up to this week. Cocaine Bear comes out.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it, and Elizabeth Banks is a talented filmmaker, and maybe this is more of a comment on the marketing, but the joke is the premise. You don't have to make it like so aware of how funny it is and how ridiculous it is, because then that's how you get snakes on a plane.
Yeah, exactly.
And so this was a review on the trailer for Cocaine Bear and The Lawnmower Man 2. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Mike, for being with us the past 2 weeks.
Thank you, guys.
We love having you. We will be back next week with a special episode and a special guest. Jan will be joining us for This Movie Fest week. And we're going to watch The Big Chill, which is a Jan fave and new to me, to Rob and myself. So
never seen it.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
Never chilled. Mike, have you chilled?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When I'm done jacking in, then I chill.
It's time for a big chill.
You need a big chill after jacking in. There was a time when I was watching Jack with Robin Williams, and I heard a voice in my head, and it said, "Jack off, jack off." And luckily, I just turned the video off. It was like, stop watching this movie. Until next time.
These seats are reserved.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.